Chuckloaf 1200 Films Podcast, all horror, all the time. Quick recap of what I thought of the presidential debate last week. One guy summed it up, one pundit on television I was watching. He said it was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. No truer words have ever been spoken. I'm about to get ready for the VP debate here in a little while, so I'm going to do this show to kill some time in between that starting. And in the next episode I will be debuting a song I did. It's a Sasquatch song. Long-time listeners will know I love Sasquatch. Probably too much. Haven't watched a good Sasquatch film in a while. Jesus. But I will be doing a Sasquatch song, and I will be debuting it on the next episode. And I recently watched a movie that I'm going to be adding on to the list of movies reviewed today. That is the first of the 4 Welcome to the Blumhouse films released exclusively on Amazon Prime. It would be Black Box. I will be reviewing that on this episode. It just released on October 6th. And today, as I'm doing this, is the 7th. You're probably listening on this on the 8th or 9th or whatever. But it is recently released, so I'm on top of it. And of course, the rating system on the bottom. Dumpster, fire, garbage, / throw the baby out with the bathwater. Then we have can't quite recommend. And then okay if desperate. And then put on the watch list. And then put on top of the watch list. I think we have one going on top of the watch list today, and the rest are... First one, Banshee Chapter from 2013. Rotten Tomatoes has a critic rating of 77 with an audience score of 42. One thing I noticed when watching the opening credits, it was produced by Zachary Quinto, who is probably best known as Spock from the new Star Trek films, and he was also in American Horror Story. He was nominated for an Emmy for that. Anyway, this movie was bizarre. It starts with the girlfriend who's looking for her missing boyfriend. She finds a tape, and it was a tape of him trying some weird drug, and then he gets stalked and vanishes. So she's like, what the hell? So she finds the maker of said drug, some weird hallucinogenic or something or other, and finds the source of where the drug came from, the distributor, the guy that was, and that was played by Ted Levine, who was probably best known as Rusty Nail from Joyride, which has to be 20 years old now. But then there's then they get all in these weird radio stations that are just say numbers, and you can't really find the source of them. And this movie was bizarre, and it was really eerie, and it was impressively good. I did not realize this until doing the research for this film. This film had no budget, less than $1 million, but they made it work. I'll be damned. I'd say definitely put this on the watch list. Next one, 2009, Turnpike Killer. Nothing on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb has it as a 5.4 out of 10. Very standard, low budget, violent serial killer movie where this overly super mega buff guy is just killing women, torturing, stalking, holding them hostage, whatever he feels like. Nothing much else to it, though. If you're into something really violent, then I'd say okay if desperate. If you're a fan of horror, then you probably are. So it's okay if desperate. Next one, 2017, The Evil Within. Rotten Tomatoes has this as a 100% on a critic rating, even though it's only 5 out of 5 reviewers. That's the minimum. You have to have a minimum of 5 for it to be, so that's kind of shady. But an audience score of 49, and that's probably a bit more accurate. Stars Sean Patrick Flannery, who is one half of the two Boondock Saints. Probably the least successful of the two, I would say. But this movie was weird. He has a handicapped younger brother, Sean Patrick Flannery, and he kind of is guilt-ridden in raising him, even though he can't, because he can't really take care of himself. And there's Sean Flannery has a girlfriend, and she kind of gets in between them. And she's like, yeah, I understand, but... And then the handicapped brother starts getting visited by something in the mirror, telling him all kinds of weird things, like, if you want me to go away, you got to kill something. You got to kill this animal or kill this dog. And then it starts becoming people, then multiple people, and then groups of people, and yes, it quickly spirals, but it's really not that good. It's really another okay if desperate. Probably would have been better off if this was made in the 80s, with the simplistic kind of storyline. But yeah, next one. 1990, Lisa. No critic rating, audience score 49. This wasn't horrible. This was Stacey Keegan, who starred in My Two Dads and Step by Step in the 90s. Right around that time, she was in this movie, where she played a young teenage girl who decided to prank call this man, pretending to be an older woman, and basically seduces him over the phone. Well, the guy she's seducing over the phone is a serial killer. Oops. Of course, the serial killer starts stalking the girl once he figures out what's going on. And then the mom kind of gets involved. It also co-starred Jeffrey Tambor. It's always nice to see him from Larry Sanders and Arrested Development. But yeah, this was not a bad little film. Still, it's just okay if desperate. It's not a lot of horror, mostly thriller, but it's fine. 2018, In a Stranger's House. Nothing on Rotten Tomatoes on this. IMDb has it as a 4.8 out of 10. Basically, this guy enters this classified ad to go to this old house and house it for like 3 or 4 days, and he gets paid well to do this, but he decides to record everything that he's doing. Why, I don't know, but he does. And turns out the house is incredibly, ridiculously haunted. And then you're thinking to yourself, at what level would I leave? Well, when things start moving on their own, I would probably gotten out. But he stuck it out. And then at 1 hour and 11 minutes, it's not a big investment, but it's just, and I will say the last 20 minutes are pretty eerie. The payoff, not great, but it was eerie. Again, gosh, I hate using this one all the time, but again, it's okay if desperate. Next one. 2020, Babysitter, Killer Queen, the critic rating 43%, audience score 65, the follow-up sequel to the very successful The Babysitter, which is a Netflix release. The first one was amazingly good. Sadly, they felt they needed a sequel. Well, more or less, they just brought up people from the first one, and then they brought it back for this one, and it's like, so the first one didn't even matter. It's like they're all back. They're all the people that were killed off. Then they're out on this boat, and then they go to some place off the boat. It was boring. Can't quite recommend Babysitter, Killer Queen. I pray there isn't a third one. 2019. Spiral. Critic rating 76. No audience score. Okay, this one. Word this carefully. So this interracial gay couple, and the one has a teenage daughter, go to this secluded little town in the middle of nowhere and just start their lives over. And of course, they're not welcome. Surprise, surprise, right? I know, right? Jesus. But, they walked right in like they owned the town. But anyway, yeah. You got to tread carefully, I guess. I'm going to get off on a tangent. Back to the film. Okay. So one's kind of a stay-at-home husband, and the other is at work. So the stay-at-home husband was kind of bored. So he starts going around the property and starts photographing stuff, and he sees the neighbors involved in some crazy ritual or something, and he starts photographing, and then of course someone over there sees it, and that's when hell breaks loose. Shouldn't take your pictures of the neighbors as they're doing a satanic ritual. What film did I just see that was similar to that? The Mortuary. Yes, that weird early 80s Bill Paxton movie where the two guys stumbled across the... Yes. But those films are not really similar. Did have a character actor I recognized, but I did not know his name, so I looked it up. His name is Lachlan Muniro. He's been in Scary Movie, the first one. He was in White Chicks, and he was in Freddy vs. Jason. So I finally put a name to the face. But yeah, this film, it was actually well shot, well directed, well acted, but the content is just, it's like probably been better off as a Lifetime Channel movie, my opinion. But okay, if desperate. All right, here we go. 2020 Black Box from Amazon's Welcome to the Blumhouse series. I guess all were produced by Blumhouse. Critic rating 76%, audience score of 50. So this guy, he was in an accident, his wife died, and he's kind of a little bit of brain damage. He's not, he just can't remember much. So he ends up going to Dr. Felicia Rashad, from the wife from The Cosby Show. And she promises to bring his memories back so he can remember to pick his daughter up from school, which seems to be the main problem in this film. Well, Felicia Rashad is alternate motives, as we learn. She's a little, not dirty, but twisted. So then the rest you have to see for yourself. But still, gosh, not great. Okay if desperate. Nice time filler. Oh boy, where's the quality? Where's the quality at? And I guess when you watch only horror films, this is what you get. Now it's time for the feature review. Johnny Frank Garrett's Last Word.
We're assembled here today to witness the execution of Johnny Frank Garrett.
Anything you want to say to us right now, son?
I would like to tell you for a final time that I am innocent.
They killed Johnny Frank Garrett. It took 10 years, but they finally did it.
There's been a lot of strange things happening. People connected to the trial. Accidents, illnesses.
She's been having dreams about Johnny Frank Garrett.
You know what kind of curse holds the most power? Curse of the innocent. Lazy defense lawyers, corrupt medical examiners. They don't want us to know.
You're saying he might have been innocent. I convicted him.
Johnny Frank Garrett's Last Word from 2017. Critic rating of 50%, audience score of 40. This is the second film on this list that stars Sean Patrick Flannery. Apparently he's done a slew of horror films. When I watched Evil Within, it says, if you like this, you'll also like this. So I said, why not? And another interesting, hi Kitty, what are you doing? Another interesting name I saw on the producer list was Peter Fasinelli, who of course is fondly remembered as the father figure in the Twilight movies. But how he got involved with this, I'll never know. But so in this movie, based on a true story, and I checked into it, and holy Christ, there's apparently a documentary about this that I probably should have watched first, but I didn't. So this nun in town is murdered. Small town, of course. Of course, the people are pissed, and they want some swift justice. So the town kind of centers on the weird 18-year-old. So, of course, he gets a quick trial and is sentenced to death. And he claims his innocence from the very beginning until his final breath. And also says he will curse anyone involved with this and will cause misery to them. So after his death, one by one, all the people involved in this apparent cover-up of this nun's death, rape and death. I forgot to mention that it was a rape and death. So, yes, so it's kind of like a Final Destination, where they're just kind of getting killed in kind of random, weird, out there ways, but there's, instead of just kind of an empty force behind it, there's a purpose behind it. And that's the guy that was put to death, apparently wrongly. So that's what makes this fascinating. Amazing film. Put it on top of your watch list and check it out ASAP. Johnny Frank Garrett's Last Word. And on the next one, we have the following. The House That Dripped Blood, from the 70s, a Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee movie, and then another one from the 70s called God Told Me To. Then we have Brad Pitt and Ad Astra. I know it's a science fiction, but why not? Throw it in. And then we got one called Bad Moon, and then one called The Bray Road Beast, which is a documentary about the Wolfman. And then we have the new Nicolas Cage one with Kelsey Grammer called The Grand Isle. And then one that's been on a few lists of underrated horror films, Alien Raiders, so I'll be watching that. And then the new Treasure Island with its 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. I vowed I would only watch it for free, so I found this free trial period for stars or whatever, so I can watch it for free, and that's what I'll be doing. So I'll let you know. And that is all I've got. And of course, again, next time we'll be debuting my Sasquatch song. So you get to look forward to that. Until next time, bye-bye.